Hello, I'm Archdeacon Bill Clark, and I'm the incumbent priest of St. Thomas's Anglican Church here in the city of Kingston. By now, you may be aware that the Diocese of Ontario has entered into what we're calling the Amber Stage, and we're now allowed to have in-person services on Sunday morning. So beginning Sunday, September 20th, St. Thomas's will be reopened for business, as it were, God's business. Now, unfortunately, we can't go back to the way it was on March 15th when we closed. You're going to see a lot of differences. And I wanted to take this opportunity and to use this video as a means of sharing with you what you can expect when you return to church. Now, I understand that a fair number of people are not ready to do so, and I fully respect that. If you have any concerns over the situation at large or your own particular situation around health matters, by all means, stay home, stay safe, and our online presence will be continuing, and you'll be able to enjoy our services on your computer. So let's begin, shall we? As I say, we're in the Amber Stage. And even before you begin to think about coming to church, when you get up on a Sunday morning, if you're not feeling particularly well, I would urge you to stay home. Get better, and communion can and will be delivered to you in a timely fashion. As I've said earlier, the online services will continue to be available on your computer. And every week I'll be mailing out the order of service, the readings, the hymns, and the prayers of the people for you to use at home. I'd also encourage you, as you come to church, to make sure that you go before you go. Use your washrooms at home. Washrooms will be open and available at St. Thomas's, but we're trying to limit use so that it's easier to keep the facility clean and sterile. Also, be sure that you bring your mask with you. Masks will be worn at all times while you're in the building. If you forget your mask, we will have some available here at the church for you to use. If you're not able or uncomfortable wearing a mask, again, I would encourage you, for your health and the health of your fellow parishioners, to remain at home at this point. And again, enjoy the online service, and we'll get communion to you in as timely a fashion as possible. Upon arrival at the church, you may notice that we're asking everyone to use these doors, the annex doors, as the entranceway. The sidewalk has been taped off at 6-foot measurements to provide for safe social distancing. And when you come through the door, you'll see a sign asking if you have any of the following symptoms. If you do, we'd invite you to return home and just get well. If not, as you proceed in, you will be greeted by a greeter who will note the day and the hour of service that you're attending. This is for contact tracing, which is required by the Public Health Unit. We'll be keeping these records for 30 days. You see there's a table, and that's where you'll find extra masks and an opportunity to once again sanitize your hands before you go up into the service. The service itself is going to be a little bit different, something that you're not quite used to perhaps. One, the services have to be shorter to limit possible exposure. And so I'll be using the order of service that I use in many nursing homes and retirement homes. It's approximately a half hour in length. But it has everything one would expect in a service. The reading of God's Word, a brief homily, 3 pieces of music, as well as all the necessary elements for the celebration, respectful celebration of Holy Communion. We also will be having, at this point in time, 3 services: 8:30, 10 o'clock, and 11:30. With half-hour services, there will be an hour between the services to allow for the safe cleaning and sanitizing of the worship space, washrooms, lift, and other parts of the church that are high-touch areas. When you come into the church, you'll see there's the collection plate waiting for you. It's not that we're money grubbers, it's just that we won't be taking up collection. A number of things that we're used to doing will not be happening. There'll be no passing of the peace physically. There'll be no singing. We'll have music played, but there'll be no singing. So we invite you simply to drop your offering in the plate at the front, or should you forget, there's also a plate by the exit. Under the current provincial legislation and health department rules, we're allowed up to 30% of our capacity. Then we need to calculate 6-foot spaces, bubbles, to ensure everyone's safe social distancing. This means that on any given service, I can have upwards of approximately 27 people in the pews and an additional 3 or 4 people up in the high sanctuary to help lead the service. Our pews are 12.5 feet long, which means there's space at each end with a 6-foot gap between. The space at the end is marked out by the green tape, and then in the middle you'll see a blue X. That's sort of the neutral zone. Don't go there. Now, in case you're wondering, is there room for you to sit at the end of a pew? What about my spouse or my friend? And the answer would be yes. Both I and my son have fitted these spots, and neither of us are small guys, so there's room for 2, and still allowing for safe social distancing with another couple at the other end of the pew. We'll also be inviting you to begin taking the seats at the back of the church and moving forward so that parishioners do not necessarily have to pass each other. Even while we're wearing masks, this is just an additional level of safety. The windows will be open for as long as possible, weather permitting, to allow for good air circulation. And all the cushions, books, and other items have been removed from the pews to help us with maintaining cleanliness. So if you need a cushion, you'll have to bring one with you. As well, you'll keep with you any coats, jackets, water bottles, hand sanitizers. Anything you bring with you stays with you and then leaves with you. At this time, it is my intention to provide communion to people as they are leaving the church. You'll be directed, again, socially distancing, beginning at the back, to leave through the main doors of the church. You'll receive the bread and a quick blessing, and away you go to make room for the next parishioner. as we continue to live into this new worship experience, we may adjust, and it may be possible for myself, while masked, to make the rounds through the pews, along the aisles, to deliver communion to you in your space in the more traditional time when one is used to receiving communion. These are unusual times, and we're going to have some unusual habits, and we're going to live into this, and we're going to learn along the way. But one of the things we will always take most seriously is your health and your safety. I and others have worked hard to ensure that very thing. So once you leave the building, you make your way to your car and head out to wherever you need to go. Take in lunch, head back home, take it easy. If at any time following attendance at a church service or another church event, you begin to feel unwell, you begin to display symptoms of COVID-19, I would direct you to contact your primary caregiver as soon as possible, or the local health unit, and follow their instructions. I'm looking forward to seeing people back. Again, service times are going to be at 8:30, 10 o'clock, and 11:30. At this time, we're not putting in a reservation system, but as our numbers grow, and certainly when we get into high holidays such as Christmas, we will probably have to do so to ensure that no one's disappointed. But if you do happen to get turned away at the door because we've met the numbers, the capacity number, and be assured I'll make sure you get communion before you leave the church grounds. So in the meantime, until we see each other, continue to take care of yourself, and God bless.